So first we will go for the unstructured files. What do you mean by unstructured file? Any file which don't have any format, just like a text file you take, that is also a file. So means everything is not in a particular order. So if you take like a structured file, means like everything is in a particular order. Let's take a CSV file where everything will be comma separated values. Means you can expect like this is the structure. Or you have a JSON files which is having a structure like this, key value like that. I will show all of them afterwards. But unstructured means it can have anything in any lines, no, there is no particular rule. Data can be in any way. So first let's focus on creating one such file. Then slowly we will understand. So in files, when you're doing any file operations, so you need to understand one thing. So file operations means what? If there is a file, so either first we create a file, then file is after creating, we can read the file, and after the file is we are reading, so we can update it. So like that you can do file operations, right? Okay, let me try doing the same. So instead of a py file, let me go for ipynb so that I can show everything in one shot. Okay, so first thing, as you know, here initially we can see either code block or this one. If I say I want to make a markdown block, I can say like file operations. What are the file operations I want to do? If you typically see the file operations, no matter whether it is structured or unstructured, everything will have a some kind of file operations. And if I do that, you can understand. Reading a file. Write means W, which is for writing a file. When you're writing a file, you should be very careful. I will tell you shortly afterwards. If the file is not there, it will create. If the file is already present, it will update it. Overwrite, sorry. And if you want to append, so that is append mode. I will take you through all these formats one after the other. So if you want to create a file and do the operations, there are multiple ways. So hope you remember os.popen also I showed there is one way of creating a file, but that is not correct. Similarly, there is another thing called as open. This is the most popular way of doing. If you write like any file name, so something a .txt I wrote, it doesn't mean that I should write only .txt. I can write my own file format. And if I do open, so it is trying to open, but see here it's a markdown, that's why it's not executing. If I open the code block, that's where you'll see. So it is asking the interpreter which you want to select. So after giving I think indentation, if I execute again, you can notice that you are opening a file. When you're opening, so along with the file name, you need to pass the mode also. I told there were broadly three types of modes: read, write, and append. If you don't specify a mode, what will be the mode? Defaultly read mode. So now what is the error? File not found error. Did you see for the first time you are getting a new kind of error? So it will tell the same. So how do you handle these errors? So you can write a try. So instead of doing like this, except till now you are accepting zero division error, like the different errors, right? Like this here also you accept the error some exception. So print out that exception message. Now if I execute the same thing, did you notice? You have an exception which you handled it. But why the problem came? Because when you're trying to open, you are not passing anything. So by default, it is thinking like you want to read it. But if as this file is not there, you cannot read, right? So you should pass that as W. So when the file is there, we can read. If the file is not there, first we need to write. So that one we can do explicitly also and implicitly also. Means the same example above, I can do again, try. So open up so-and-so file. And if I do the try exception block, you see now, in this case, you see, if I execute, again, it's saying the same. If you don't specify also, default mode is so-and-so. Now, the same thing I do again. This time, instead of read, I say write. The moment I do a write, it will create a file. Before doing that, let me check the operating system and check. So what we do, import OS. So after importing os.list.dir. In the current directory, you want to list the files. You see, it has only one thing. Now I did this one in a write mode. So write means if it is not there, it will create. If it is there, it will update. Means overwrite the existing thing. Now you see, so it has created it. You didn't get any exception. So if you check the files, you can see an empty file. You can see an empty file, right? So create file.txt that was created. Now, so what is the process of going actually? If you just create, you need to add the content, right? If you just want to create a file like this, you can create. But if you want to do some file operations, that result we need to assign to something. I created a variable called as file handler, and the same thing I am assigning. What happens if I do the same thing again and again? It will flush out the previous content and try to overwrite. But somehow it will create the file handler. Now, what is this file handler type? And if you see what is the data, that's where you'll understand. The result I'm assigning to something. What it is saying? It is of type io.text text io wrapper, and it is like in open io mode. And did you see the encoding? So CP1252. So if you see in Windows, any language, the default encoding system in Windows is CP1252. On the other day, I told you what is the encoding in detail, right? Encoding is nothing to do with the encryption. It is the way in which you store or way for better passage in the network. So, but like this is how it worked. Now we understood a file handler and the file is there. In the same fashion, whatever you did in the top, there is optional, but also you can pass the encoding also. If this time, if I pass the encoding also, you can notice that this, did you see the encoding is like UTF-8? So like that, you can pass. If you don't pass, it will take the defaults. But if you pass, it will take whatever you have given. Okay. Now I have the file. How to see the content in the file? You know, Linux command operations we can do here itself, right? You can check for any file and you can check. So I think if you want to see the file, I will show here itself for you to better understand. So it is in the current directory, but the file is created, but content is not there, right? I am closing it. Now I am coming back. I want to add some content. If you want to add the content to the file handler, you type like file handler. This file handler has a lot of operations. If I say like print off, dir of this file handler, you notice here how many operations it has. So apart from the things which have underscores on either side, even if you ignore them, so did you see how many operations are there? A lot many things are there, right? So all these things, we can see one after the other, each other. First and foremost, we want to write something. So for file handler, you can dot write. If I do dot write, then you can say like, so this is the first line. Okay. If I write like first line, I executed. So it is saying like 22, means like number of characters I am writing. So that is output. If you want to get capture how many lines it loaded and all these things also it is giving. But if you are not included, you just ignore. Then I will go back to this file. Did you see? It's not created yet. No. So, sir, we added, but still it's not there. Means you are still doing the operation. And now if I say like file handler dot close, close is the operation if I do. Now whatever is in the buffer that will pass to the file. If you open now, did you see? This is the first line. Earlier it is not there. Now it is there. Now let me do these things again in one shot for you to better understand. Hope you understood, right? How to do this operation. Let me repeat again. So I'm again taking this file and I want to do the operation. So I'm taking this time like again file handler. So at this time, like instead of A, I will take B just to make their, so okay, same A I will take, just for your understanding.
Uday, Uday, I
Yes,
have
please.
one question. Sorry.
Yes, please.
So whenever we are creating the file, right, like a dot create dot file text,
Yes.
how the file is go into the file operation only? It will be directly go into the directory we are creating.
Yes. So I think if I can understand your question clearly, when you're creating a file, in which directory it will go?
Yes, yes.
By default, it will go to the current directory. That's why I'm showing here.
Currently. Okay,
So that's
okay,
why first I showed this os.list here and show the list of files. Here also the list of files. So the list of
okay,
files is here only, right? It means like we are not going anywhere. We are just being there itself.
okay. Thank you.
Okay, fine. So within this directory only it is creating. But if you want to create in some other directory, there is a way using the OS module we can create. I will tell you shortly afterwards. So I am doing the same operations what are we did till now in one shot, like a gist. First you created a file, you added the mode, which is mandatory, but encoding is not mandatory. Based upon your use cases, you can add it. So earlier you read like this is the first line, right? So even if you say here, so the file has this is the first line. Now we want to write the second line. Now if I do this operation, and after that if I open and see, so what happened to the first line? It was overwritten. Now did you all understanding what I mean to say like overwriting? If you do the write operation, if the file is not present, it will open, new create. If it is already present, it will overwrite the existing content. Earlier you wrote that this is the first line. Now you wrote like second line. So the previous content was done. And the second thing I want to show is that if you do the same thing operation again, this time, say like I write like first line, second line, this is the first line, this is the second line. If I write now in this time, you see, first line will come and second line will come, but both are not coming in different lines. They are coming in the same line, right? Means after one thing, so if you want to move the cursor to the next line, you should explicitly give that. Means if you want to move cursor to the new line, there's something called a slash n. Means apart from your content, you need to take the onus of passing the slash n again. Now, if you do that, now did you see the cursor has gone to the third line after two lines? Hope you understood how a typical file, how I write. Is it clear? So, I want to do now one more file handler. I want to do one more operation. Say like this time I'm creating one more. So this time I'm saying b create file.txt. You see there is no b create file.txt, right? Now I want to create file handler. Every time that has shortcut is like fh I'm doing, but it doesn't mean that fh or something. It's up to you. Any name you can give. So once I created this one, so as we know, like so if I say so dir of it, you can see a good number of things, right? File handler means it will create the file and the file handler will be there, but file content will not be there. You see, the moment you created this step, a new file was created. Fine. Now what I want to show is that I want to tell like what is the name of the file and what is the mode in which you have opened. So those kind of operations were there. If you do that, it will give as it is. What is saying? fh.name, fh.so. So similarly, I want to introduce you one more built-in function called as vars. Vars is like a built-in function. So for any object, if it is has like underscore underscore dict underscore underscore, we can use that. So it's not slow. It is the first time I'm showing you this, but down the line when you go for classes and others, this function will help you a lot. But as of now, so just see that this is another new function in the evolution process. But you understood with whatever you have created, it is showing again what is the file, what is the opening mode, fine. Now you want to write some content and you want to do. So if you want to write some content, how you do? fh dot write, right? Again, this is first line, this is second line. And there is a best practices when you are writing anything. After you have written everything, so you need to write the flush. It is not mandatory, but it's a best practice. I told you earlier also, if you write the content will not go. If I just do write operations, the content will not go to this. You need to close it, right? You need to flush and close. If I do that fh.flush, now did you see the content has gone? Means it's not the file.close which is actually pushing it. fh.flush is pushing the content there. So after this flush, I can write one more line. So like this, I can write, this is the third line. If I do now, you see now, the third line content is not coming. Means after everything you do, so flush will help you in flushing whatever content you have. Hope you understood. So this is not a mandatory. If you do fh.close also it will do. But sometimes what happens is like Python is a garbage collector based ecosystem. So in the backend, it's something we'll process and see. So during one of the cycles, some of times it can lose. So that's why they say that it's a best practice to do it. Next, you understood about the f.flush. Next thing is about the close. I am saying fh.closed. fh.closed is different from fh.close. So it's a variable. We tell whether this file handler was already closed or not. Till now, we didn't close it, right? So if I ask, it says it was closed. No. And after that I close, I'm asking. So before closing, if I ask, it says, hey, false, it is not closed. And after closing, if I ask, it says like it's closed. What is the point, sir? After closing, if I say like I want to write again, fh.write of this time, I'm saying like fourth line. What will happen? It will throw an error. So what is saying? IO operation on a closed file. Did you all understand? If you want to handle this exception, again, the same thing. Try whatever is there. You have, so except as ex, print of ex. This is how you handle the exceptions. So fine. So you cannot do a operations on a closed file. If you want like explicitly, you can write that statement. Okay. Next, if you want to again work on the same file, if you want to reopen the same file again, in that case, we need to again open that. Maybe like this time, I want to assign to another handler, say gh is equal to something. Instead of fh, I am writing like gh. You write for anything. So what are the three things it need? File name, which is mandatory, and the mode. So when you are writing, we should write the mode. When you're reading, if you don't write also, default is read. Encoding is optional depending upon your use case. Now, if I want to write this thing, so what are the operation is there, right? So this is the fourth line. I take it and I want to write it. So how you do? gh.write line, fourth line. So then like if I do fh.flush and close, right? If I do flush and close, so now tell me what will happen. So after executing, will I have still these files with me or they will go? Will I still have this file or it will go when I'm executing? See, the moment I'm executing, you can notice that. See, once I wrote this, the latest, when I did a write mode, it will flush off the existing content, right? That's where the first three lines were gone. Now the new file came. So this is what I want you to be aware. So what is the note which I told you? So be aware. So whenever you are in a write mode, be careful about this, because if the file is not there, fine, it will create it. If it is there, it will flush up. You can't even retrieve the data. This is one of the dangerous thing. That's why we'll be very careful when I'm doing a write operation. Then like what is the best solution, sir, in this particular case? So do we have a better way of doing this in a other way? Yes, of course. So before that, so there is something called as a append mode. Append mode, this is also for writing. In fact, if I do like here, what will happen? Again, I will open the file handler in the same fashion. Maybe like fh2 I do. Okay. Same open. of what are the existing file I have. So I can write explicitly or like this. Okay. So file is equal to say b underscore rest file. Then what is a mode? Mode is equal to like this. I did explicitly this time. So instead of write, I am doing for the first time there is a. A means like append mode. What is it is doing? I will tell you. So you created a file handler, same like the other dot write. So you have fourth line, right? I am doing like this is fifth line slash n. Okay, say fh dot write off. So after write you can do a flush. That's the best practice. Flush and fh2 dot close. If I do right now, you can notice on the same file I'm doing the operation. Did you see? It is not overwriting, right? It is adding at the end. And again, if I open the append mode, this time I do like, so sixth line. So, and if I do like seventh line, if I do these two operations, did you see? It is appending at the end. So whatever the lines you are adding, it is adding at the end. Hope it is clear till now. But sir, this is good. I want to add in a different way. So some other place I want to add. So that's where you need to understand. So whenever you are writing. So so you have seen writing in the starting, so overwriting and like writing somewhere else. Now, if you want to write somewhere in middle, okay. So if you want to do writing in middle, first of all, you should know what is the cursor, where it is present. So for that, for to understand that, first we will see about how to read the data. Then after that, we can go for this operation. So read the files. How do you read the files? Okay. So till now we have done operations I told, right? I will do that. fh3 is equal to say open now. So the same file name. So b underscores text, whatever I have. If I don't give mode also, by default the mode will be read mode if you don't give also explicitly. So now I have a file. Now I need to read this file. So fh2, there is after doing this one, there is one standard thing called as readable and writable. These are the two operations which are there for any file. Previously I also forgot to tell, but there is something like this. Means if any file when you're opening, if it is readable, it will have readable is equal to true. If it is writable, if it has writable equal to true. So writable is there and then readable. These are the two things we have. If I execute, so what it is saying, oh, these are the built-in functions. Whenever you get something like this, don't get feared. It is like a built-in function. So we need to pass like calls. If I execute, you can notice. As I open this file in a read mode, it will be having writable equal to false, readable equal to true. Means with this file only I can do read operations. So what all the things I can do now? So the file name, file mode, all of them I can ask, right? I do like, fh3. fh3. So file name, what is the mode in which you open file? Next, if I want to get the content, so how do content? There are like multiple ways of reading the content also. So there are three ways in physics to read the content. So read entire file content. So read some characters and like read line by line and read entire lines at once, list of strings as list of strings. So these are the different ways in which you can read. So first of all, I will do the first thing called as reading the entire file content. To read the entire file content, we have something called as fh.3 dot read. If I do this operation called as read, I will get it. So I can say like content is equal to, I do a read, then after that I need to print, hey, what is the content? Now if you see, did you see that I got the entire content? And what is this of type? If I say type of this, it is of type string. Type of content, it is of type string. Now you read the entire data, right? Just imagine like a human being. As a human being, if you are starting reading, you read all the lines and you came down. Now where will be the cursor? Just imagine if let's say it is reading from the starting. As a human being, what you can understand? It read everything and the cursor is at the end, right? So if you want to know where the cursor is present, there is something called as fh dot seek. One second. So dir of fh. Oh, fh3, right? Its name is fh3 dot seek. Seek. Oh, there is one thing. One second. Fh dot seek and fh dot. Okay, I will tell you shortly that. One second. dir of fh3 dot. Yeah, if I do secant, there is another thing. One second. Yeah, tell. Sorry. fh3 dot tell. Yeah, tell it is saying that I am at a particular location like this. Did you see? So if you count all the values 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 like this, you should count for every line. Okay. All of them, if you combine, at the end it will be like 86 only. Calculate the total number of characters. So at the end it would be 86 only. So after doing all the things, you are at the down. Okay, you read first. I want to show like how to read the content, right? I read the content. So how do you read? fh.read. So it will read the entire content. And again, now I want to read again. You came at the down. Well, that's what I am trying to say. So again, content again. I am writing another variable fh3 dot. I am doing a read. So this time I want to print, hey, content again. What is the value that you got? If I print it, did you see I got nothing. So content again, when I'm asking, it is saying I got nothing. Because like once you read it, everything, cursor will come down. That's all. Then what is the solution? So again, we need to go top and do it. Or like we should close and reopen again. So before even doing that kind of operations, I will show you the 3 ways of doing. Then I will do the next one. So fh3 dot close if I do. So after that, can I do the read operation? So after closing something, you can't do the read operation. Did you see what it's saying? So value error. So IO word operation on the closed means when something is closed, you can neither do the, so read nor write, right? So till anything is closed, you can do any operation. After closing, you cannot do. So the next thing. So again, same file I want to open. So how do you open again? Reading the file again means. So I can take like, fh4 is equal to open of. So the file name. So b underscore file and the mode should be read. If you don't specify also, default mode is. So default is read mode. So a file handler is created and I want to read. So fh.read I did earlier. It is reading entire string. So reading entire string, entire content as a string, right? That's what we understood. So there is one more thing. So like this, one more thing called as fh4 dot read line. if I do a read line, you see, so line is equal to like this. If I print, hey, what is the line? You can see I got the fourth line because that's the first line here, in fact. So that's why it got it. And I am doing the operation again. If I do this time, I got the fifth line because that's the second line, right? And if I do the same operation again, I'm getting the next line. And if I'm doing the same operation again, I'm getting one more line. Okay, finally you came down, right? And if I ask again, did you see I get nothing? And if I again ask, I got nothing. Because like, where is the cursor now? If I say tell will tell the current cursor position. Cursor position. So the cursor position is down. That's why you cannot do it. So how to go back in the top, I will tell you shortly. So, but like I want to tell the other one also before that. So fh dot, so close, if I do, it will close it. And again, I will do the same operation again. Fh file is equal to open off. So again, the same file. So B file. And if you don't open, the default mode is read. But still, if you want to give, you can give. So after creating the file handler, so file handler 5 dot. So you know read. So read. So we'll give entire content, right? Entire content as a single string. So you saw this one. Next, after that, you saw like fh5 dot read line will give as a string. So one line at a time. At a time, one line only it will give. So that also you have saw. The third one is like fh5 dot read lines. This is very interesting. So content, if I say right now, and if I ask, hey, what is the type of content? And like if you ask, hey, what is the content? Now, did you see what will happen? So the type is a list now. So you got like content. If I ask like, hey, what is the content? You can see this is a list of 4 lines. Entire content you got like a list. That is the beauty of read lines. So again, after this doing, if you again ask like, hey, give me the content again, it won't have, because like I told you, fh.5.tell will tell you that the cursor is at the down. And if you ask again, it can't get it. So like this you understood. So after that, if I close, I can do it. Now, did you all understand? There are like, so 3 ways of reading any file: read, read line, or so this thing. Reading the entire content using read line. Some content I will tell you shortly. Line by line, you saw. And the entire content as a list of strings, that also you saw. Now, if you want to read a specific amount of content, so then how we need to do? So for that, there are 2 things called as, so fh means file handler, whatever you create, dot, so tell will give cursor position, and fh dot seek will move the cursor position. So these are the 2 things we need to be aware of. If you are aware of these 2, then we can do. Let me do like fh6 is equal to, again do the open operation. You can do write, read, anything you can do. First I will do this operation with a read because you are more familiar now. If I do the read operation, so if I pass the read operation, and if I say like, fh dot fh6 dot dot read. Earlier you saw read means entire content, right? Entire content. Rather, this time if I do fh dot 6 dot read of say some 15 characters, I'm saying. Instead of like that, I'm doing read some 15 characters. If I say content equal to something, so if I say content, same like the above content, read only, but this will read only 15 characters. And again, if I ask the same thing again, you see each time, this time I want to read 15 characters again. It will read from the previous place. It has read from the starting till the 15th position. From there, it will read the next 15 characters. So if I ask again from here, hey, print again, and this time if I say print some 45 characters, from that position till the next 45 characters, it will print. Now, if you ask, hey, fh6 dot tell, it will tell where it is. So it will tell like I'm at the 66th position. Okay, till now you did a read. So can I do from now fh6 dot read line? So whatever is in middle, it will read that line till the end. So only that line till the end it was read. So now if I say fh6 dot, so tell again, it is going that 86th position. And after that, if you do like anything, fh dot 6 dot read or read line, it won't give anything. Now, if you want to go back again, fh6 dot, so we need to do seek. If I say seek like, 13th position, and after that, if I say fh6 dot, so as seen previously, after moving the cursor, say I'm seeking to 13th position, means it is going cursor to the 13th position. After doing the seek means moving the cursor. So seek moves the cursor position. So tell will tell what is the current position. If I say cursor will tell that now it is at 13th position because you just moved it. Either if you can move or you can read. So either of the operations can move the cursor position. Yeah, tell will just tell us. So let's say I've told right now. If I do fh dot read line, if I do read line, did you see what will happen? From 13th position, I think somewhere 13 means here. So it is reading from there onwards. So if I do like, fh6 dot read of say 4 characters only. So it will read 4 characters. So if I say like fh6 dot, so tell, here it is 13. 13 plus 4 means something, right? It read this till line. So this together. So total if you add, it is 25. That's what. Okay. So like this, we can read any file. Now after that, I'm asking fh6 dot. So is it readable? Because you opened as a readable file, it says yes. So fh6 dot writable, I'm asking. If I say you cannot write because like you just opened the file in a read mode. So for the read mode file, if I'm trying to write like, say I want like this is 8th line. If I want to add, what will happen? Will it add or it will throw an error? So see, every time I'm introducing new kinds of errors, right? After coming here, new kinds of exceptions. In the file operations, you have this one, except unsupported operation. So this unsupported operation means like you cannot handle like this directly. So in a different way, you need to handle. But like you saw here, you cannot do it. Then what is the solution? So first you need to close and you open again. So if you want to open a file in a write mode, you should explicitly do fh7 is equal to open of. Again, I do the same thing, b underscore file. And this time like mode is equal to write mode. So then instead of write, I can do append. Append, right? It is something better. It won't delete anything. That's why append I do as safety check. So it will do. So fh7 dot, I'm doing like a readable and writable. I'm asking for both. Is it readable? Till now, read and write. So append also I showed you, but we didn't check this one at the time, right? Let me do. Readable I'm checking and writable also I'm checking. If you check now, you will understand that. Writable, okay. Fine. It is saying readable is false. So writable is true. You cannot read, you cannot do the read operations, but you can write it the same. The same thing, f7 dot, if I say read, it will throw an error. You open in append mode, this operation is not supported. So only you can write. f7 dot write of, say the thing. So this is, say like 8th line slash n, I want to add. You see now? So it won't make the changes, as you know, because like we need to do a flush. So f7 dot flush, if I do, it is making the changes. Is it doing in a different file? Same file, right? Yeah. So flush it is done. As we did in append mode, it is expecting us to close. So f7 dot close, if I do, you see the file is there now. Now again, opening the same file again in the same mode, f7 only I will do. You see, this time I am opening. Generally, after opening, append mode means it will open the content at the end. It tries to add the content at the end. Now, if I open, now the general question is, what will be the position? If I say fh.tell, what will be the fh.tell position when you open in append mode? So it will be at the end, right? That's the difference. This fh.tell means like opening the file and moving the cursor at the LAN. If you do the same thing in a read or write mode, the cursor position every time will be at the 0th position. So as here it will happen like this. Now, if I say I want to add something, till now when you are adding at the end, right? That's what append mode means. Say I want to add something like this is the first line, but I want to add separately. So fh7 dot seek of 0 means at the starting I want to move. So move cursor to start, and then I want to add, say like fh7 dot, so write of. So even if you come in append mode, operation is write only. So if I do write, I can write like, so this is first line slash n. So if I want, I can write like this is second line. So like this. After that, what I need to do, fh.7 dot, so flush, and fh7 dot close. Flush is not mandatory, but like if you write, it will do. You see why it is happening like this? You are trying to seek the cursor to the position and you are trying to write. But did you see why it happened at the end? When you are doing a seek, you are moving the cursor down, right? But still, why it happened so? If you want, like, I will remove these lines and I will show again. So till now, earlier it used to be like this, right? So let me save that. And let me do the cursor again. I did a seek and I'm showing. After doing that, I am asking, hey, what is the cursor position? Oh, I closed the file. Sorry. Okay, I do again. I opened the file. The position is at 86, which is the last line. And after that, I'm seeking to 0 and I'm asking to tell. The cursor position is at 0. And after that, I want to write the files. Means at the 0th position, I want to write. You see now? If I do right now, did you see what happened? Though the cursor is at the 86th position and you change the cursor position to 0, but still it is writing like this. And similarly, not only that, append mode will be crazy like this. This is the one thing. That's why be careful with append mode. Open in append mode only when you want to add at the end. And like then it's fine. So generally, then like fine. What I'm trying to say is that, so if I move the cursor to some other position, instead of moving to the start, I want to move cursor to something else. Say like I want to move to some 15th position or like some 25th position I want to move. I am asking like, hey, what is the cursor position? It says. So after that, I want to add and I want to close and flush. See, after doing it, seeking, I'm closing and flushing. So I'm saying like this is the third line, this is the fourth line. You see now what happened? The third and fourth, where they came. So that's what, that is the point of append operations. Hope you understood the read, write, and so and so. And one more thing I want to show. So when you're reading, so I told that there are different ways of reading. Reading means what? So fh dot read. So it means one character or in if total thing you can do. Fh dot read lines, I told, or fh dot read lines. This is also you saw. These are the three ways of reading. Similarly, when you want to write also, similarly they should be there, right? So for that I will show. Okay. Yeah. Similarly for writing also there should be there the operations in the same lines. So let's see that also. As you did in a read, there is one more. Yeah. If you want to write like multiple lines, there is another thing. So I open a file, like I want to write like multiple lines. So to do that, let me open a new file. This time I open a file. Instead of txt, I'm writing tsf. So what is this file, sir? I just want to create something. I'm just creating out of blue. So after creating this file called as new file handler, so I want to do some operation. So it is in a write mode. I want to write. So if I want to write a single line, so I can do like this. This you already know. If you want to write, you can write it. And if you have like multiple lines, then how to write it? So this is how you write a single line. But if you have like multiple lines like this, you have a list of some lines and you want to write everyone. So traditionally means what? You can loop over each of these things and you can write. So this is how you do traditionally for each of the line and do. So instead of you doing like this, so whenever you have a list of lines or a couple of lines, means like a dribble of strings, then you can go in another way using read lines. So sorry, write line. So write is there for a single string. Write lines is a list of strings. If you have, you can do this write lines. So both are different ways of doing it. And as a best practice, we need to close it. Sir, why we need to close every time? Because sometimes when you're closing only, this flush will execute and all content will go. Else garbage collector will remove it. Sometimes your content may lose. Okay, now I need to open that other file, right? Which are is there? You see now, the file is there, right? File is created. So when you have created single line also you did, multiple lines also you did. So like this, there are two ways of writing the file content. And it doesn't mean every time you should have only the this one, what is a txt file. You can have like multiple things. So hope you are understood now these operations. And similarly, one more thing I want to tell at this point is about whenever you are working with hybrid operations. So there is one more thing called as hybrid file operations. So this is very rarely you'd use, but I don't prefer, frankly, because it would be crazy. Too many options will make us like crazy, right? So that's why I don't prefer them. But still, I want to give you this information because they were present. Hybrid operations. So till now, you know, read mode, write mode, and append mode, and they are something like read, write. So, so append. All these things are there. If you want to understand, so let's go with the first thing, which is like say I'm opening in a write read plus means you can do a read operation, and after that if you can ask, hey, is it readable and writable, so you can understand. So first, this file handler, when you open, if I ask, hey, what is the file and what is the file mode, it says yes, you created a file like this and you are doing it. And after that I want to check the read operation and write operation. You opened in read mode, right? I just want to do a write first. So if I do a write, you see what I did? fh.flush. I didn't close, but I'm doing it. You see, read up, is it writable? Yes. As you opened in the read plus, it is writable? Yes. It read. And after that, is it readable? I'm checking. As it will be readable, I can do a read content and I can get that. So first I will check, is it readable? Of course it will say readable is true, and I'm reading the entire content. You see, it is saying readable and I'm reading the entire content. Now did you see in this R plus you can do read and you can do write, both you can do. So after your operation is done, it's a best practice to close the file handler. I closed it. In the same fashion, let me go with a W plus. In the W plus also, I can do the same operations. So first, W plus I opened the file. So d hybrid modes txt, which is not there till now. I am opening this file. I am asking the mode. Then I am checking, is it writable? Yes, it is writable. And you flush the content. It will flush entire content. And similarly, you can do like this one also. So I am showing all at one shot so that you can understand. I'm checking writable, I'm writing, readable, I'm reading the content, what are the content items. And after doing this, I can do operations with this file handler. Hope you remember earlier I did a file operations also, that I will do. So if I check now this content in this file, where is this D hybrid modes? You see now? So initially it is writable. What are the content you write? Here is there. After that I'm reading, I'm getting the content. So that is how it's there. And after that, you see now, yeah, I did a W plus. When I'm reading the content, I get nothing. So where like if I do, hey, get me the cursor, it is saying I'm going to the cursor at the 0. Then I got it. Hope you understood the difference. In the earlier operation, I did first in the read mode. In the read mode, I opened. Cursor will be at the starting, and you are trying to write. So write was done. So then like sorry, it wrote, and after that like it is trying to read. You got the entire content. So it's fine. You wrote everything, and the cursor also takes the example of how to go to the starting to get everything. So that's how it is doing the entire thing. That is fine. But if you go down, you will understand. So into the write plus operations. So here you first do write. So it is write proactively for writing. So as you are doing the writing, after writing the content, the cursor will be at the down. So due to that, like as cursor will be at the last, so as it is write friendly, cursor will be at the last. When you're trying to read, it will not give. So that's the reason if you move the cursor to the 0 position, from there it will give. Now hope you understood the difference between read plus and write plus. So read plus means read friendly. So then we need to write means whatever you write, it will be at the end. So when I would say write plus means as it is write friendly, cursor will by default be at the last position. And if you want to read, you should move the cursor to the starting to do it explicitly. So like that, you can do anything. And also the last point, whenever you want to read the large data. So to read, so large file, so you need to do in a better strategy. So there is a file which I will give. So just use that whenever you are going in real time. So just make use of these files. This is an example for you. Next, we will go for the Kaggle datasets. So there you can practice that. So this is how a real-time program is there. So whenever you're reading the data, till now you know read line, read write. So all these things are there. So if you want to read, these are the 3 ways you need to read for large data. So see, did you see that there is no return? There is an yield. Means I created a generator. So what is this with? How we did? I will tell you that shortly. But so there is one more thing. Yeah, that context manager I need to tell right now. Yes. So but like this is one of the real example. Just this is like an assignment for you. I will show you some Kaggle datasets. So you need to pull that large data and work on it afterwards. So coming back, what is this with in real-time views and why we need it? Let me tell you. So this is called as context manager. So context manager, managing the context. Context means what? Whenever you're speaking, we say, what is the context, right? What do you mean by the context? So something related to it. Okay. So till now, you have any file. When you do traditionally, how do you read the content? So there are 3 steps, right? Traditionally means, so you have 3 steps. First, you take a file, you need to read it, and then we need to write. That's it, right? So, and here I want to tell some interesting point. If I do in a try exception kind of blocks, if you have any exception, you can handle it. But by default, it is what? Then the try block, you open the file and you do the operations, and then finally you close it. And did you see that this finally, is it your main logic, or it's a best practice, or like housekeeping? You know, housekeeping tasks, right? Generally, if you have a house daily, we need to sweep and do. So this is one such housekeeping task. Okay. So what it actually happens? So you can write these 3 statements and 4 statements separately, or like in a try finally block. So if you do like this also, it will do the same thing. It will print the content and it will do it, right? This is how traditionally works. Now, what they say is that after this operation, if you try to do any read operation or write operation, because this was already done, so we cannot do the operation, right? What it says, value error, you cannot open on a closed file. So that's what we understood. Try. So value error on a closed file, except value error as vx. So if I do, it will tell the same. Okay, you see now, it's fine. So what you understood is that close after that, if you do anything, it will not allow. But so where you placing this in a try finally block? So in the finally you are writing. Finally is not mandatory, but if you write something there, you can do it. And similarly, the same operation, if I want to do, so I can do in other way using context manager. Context manager means you take what are the operation is there. So you are doing this entire operation, means open, and the result you are storing in this variable, right? The same thing you do in a different way. You use the keyword called as with, and after do the entire operation, and the result you are saving as, so like file handler. So don't you think even exceptions also you do the same way, right? So like that, you do any operation as so and so, means whatever you write there, the same thing, and within that whatever operations are there, you do it. And from now, you need not think about closing. You need not write the closing. I don't do the closing, and I do the operation as it is. Now you see here, I want to do the same thing again. Execute. I got the entire data. And if I use the same try exception block, did you see? I got the, IO operation on closed operation. Means don't you think that it was closed? So how it actually works? Simple. This with context, not only here, whenever you're doing with file operations, whenever you're doing with DB connections or socket connections or anything, it will work like this. Whatever do operations you do and the result you are storing as this, you have an indentation level, right? If you come out of the indentation level, immediately it will be so closed. So did you all understand? Immediately it will be closed. So means like, so what are the operations you have? So not only this read operations. So if you do like one more example, you see this time write operation. So traditionally how you are doing here, you are taking all the values and you are doing it. You see here, you are opening the file, you're trying to write lines or like anything, and like you are flushing and you are doing. After doing all the things, and if you are closing and if you do write, so it will throw an IO operation that you are aware. In the same lines, if I do the same thing in a using context manager, how I can do? So using context manager means take the entire thing, whatever you have. You see, right? You write with what are the operation is there as GH. You have written as GH, right? GH. And what all operations you have, the same operations you can do here. And here you need to give the indentation level. And we need not do the close. Sir, what if you do close? It's not mandatory. Even if you do also, it will work. But after that, if you do any operations, it will throw an error. So that you should be aware of. If I execute now, it will create and do the operations, and after that it will throw an error. So the moment you come out of the indentation level, it will be no more readable or writable. It is closed. So hope you understood now what is importance of context manager. So what are the operations we did till now? We will make use of these things every time. Now, similarly, if I go for structured things, what are the structured data size? Till now you have seen unstructured. Unstructured means just writing files, simple files, right? But structured means you need to follow in a structure. What are the different structured files we have? There are many structured files. The first and foremost is Pickle. Pickle is the first and foremost thing. Earlier, people used to work with Marshall and other things, but they were all absolute. So now the most common things you are seeing is Pickle. So after Pickle, there is something called a shell. So this is less popular, but that is also there. I think I need to go somewhere. And after that, we will work on like CSV files. So after that, like we work on JSON files and all these things. So first we will see on what is a Pickle file, how to work on it. So first, let me focus on writing a small Pickle file. Then we are work on. Now, in this case, you need to understand a new concept called as serialization. A new concept called as serialization. So most commonly, you will get this concept called as serialization. What do you mean by serialization? Okay, it is a process of like converting any content in a way that like others can communicate. So I will give you a very simple example. You have two functions. There is a Python list one side, another Python list in the other function is there. If you pass a list from one file to another, or one class to another, or one function to another, as everything is Python, within the program they can understand, right? So, but what if you want to send this information to some other thing? Let's say someone has written some code. So in like in their REST API, you want to consume it, or like so you have some data in some other place they want to send to you. Means like, or else within the same system itself, I have two programs. There is a Python program and there is a C program. From C program, I need to access this data. Python classes and objects, how can C language understand? Similarly, whatever you write in another language, if you want to communicate to any other language, there should be understanding, right? So to means, yes, anyone cannot understand the other side. First, what are the content we have? We need to first flatten it. Serialization is like flattening and deflattening. Serial means one after the other, like that you place. Then again, there will be the other person who will assemble it. So that is the point. So it involves like two tasks. So if you see, serialization means the Python object will be converted to a flattened content, and from there it will convert to the string option. Whereas the deflattening means the other way. Deserialization means other side. What are the string or file you have, that will be unflattened and converted to Python object. This process is same across the languages. Even Java also has serialization. Go language also has. Means what are the language objects are there, those will be converted to flat content such that other languages can consume. The vice versa also happens. And in this process, they gave a clear cut understanding. Like what is like, there are two operations. If you have a Python object, you can dump into a file. So dump as means if you want to dump to a Python string. Deflattening means the same thing. So means converting back from a Python string or like this thing. So how it works, let me see. So and so. So this Pickle, let me show you. There is a module called as Pickle. If I do like, so print off, So like a DAR of Pickle. You can understand. In Python 2, there used to be two modules called as Pickle and C Pickle. The C Pickle of Python 2 is called as Python here. C Pickle of Python 2 is renamed as Pickle in Python 3. As you are no more dealing about the other one, you don't need, but still, I'm telling it. So there were like a good list of things it has. If I execute, did you see a lot of operations are there? I told for any module, there will be first constants. That's why they were in capitals. Then like, so some more variables are there. If I see in the text editor, you can see that excluding these things, there's still a lot of things are there. But not everything is mandatory. But most commonly used things are like, so I will tell some of them. And I told from now, every module will have other modules also within it. It has sys module, RE module, func2 partial is there. Means other modules, when this module is created, they will use, right? That's why they are there. So that's why we don't need everything. Most commonly we need is like load and loaders and dump and dumpers. So these are the most 4 things you do in serialization. Say like I have a some kind of dictionary. Say favorite colors is my dictionary. If I create it, so now I need to convert to a string. So how do I convert means? So I have like a Python object. This is a Python object. I want to convert. Pickle.dump s. You call dump s such that you can better remember. Dump s of thing. So then it will convert that to a dump pickle string. Did you see it is a pickle string? Pickle is one kind of format. It will do it. Sir, I have a pickle now. From this string, I want to do. And similarly, if you want to send the data to a pickle file, so you are in current directory and you want to do. Either you can do .pickle or .pkl. Either way you can do. But in the current directory, if you see, if I say like, import OS, so os.listdir, if I ask, you can see there is only one file. Now, if I do like this, so it is opening a file as in the previous case, like a file handler, pickle.dump of what are the object is there to this file handler. And you need not close, it will be done in the backend. So if I do like os.listdir again, you can see the pickle file is there. So if I go further and open this file, so you can see open anyway if I do, like a text editor, you can see that it is like garbage. So after doing this, you can send. So this is how you convert from Python object to this one. Similarly, if you want to get back again, that is called as a load. So now 2 things I have, right? I converted to this string and I converted to this thing. So first I have this string, Python object to this flat string. I need to get back. How do you get back? I can do like this. So from a flat string, so to back to Python object. How do I do means? I need to, instead of dump, I need to say load s. What did I load? Whatever the serialized string is there, right? That serialized string, you take it. If I say a serialized string, if I do, so I get it. So I can say like, original string. So I want to print now the original string. Again, what are I'm getting? Did you see I got the dictionary again back? So whatever your, what do you say, this favorite color and this one, both were same, right? If you see. So both are exactly same. Similarly, you have dumped to a file. So now I need to get from that. How to get that? So pickle file to Python object. If I say, so same like that. Instead of dump s, we need to say like load. So if you want to load, you can say load. Load is for like loading from a file. So instead of write mode, don't do write mode this time. Okay. You see, there is one more thing called as B I wrote. That is needed because it's a binary file. We need to write. So here I need to write binary. So then it will load. But when loading means where it should load, I need to load to some destination, right? Say original. Original is equal to so and so. Then I print like, hey, what is original? If I do original spelling correct, okay, original. If I ask, load exactly takes, yes, of course. Oh, I am doing again tools. Okay, load it. You got it? So these were like 4 options. So read, read as, load, load as. If I do the same example again, I can do again and again. So just to for you to understanding. So if I take anything, let's say this time a list is there. So list is there. I want to dump to a pickle and I want to do the reverse. So if I say like I have, so n1 is a tuple, I am doing a pickle. So pickling means what? I get the result. So I this again data I want to retrieve back again. I told there are 2 steps. If I do, I got this pickle object, and if I want to load it back again, so load of this pickle string, load s of pickle string, because it's a string, I passed it. I retrieved back both in one shot. And similarly, if I have like one more thing, this time I'm taking a tuple and I want to pickle and also load again. So what I'm doing, as I'm dumping every time to a string, I'm doing the same operations. I took it, this is a set. I'm dumping to a pickle, dump s. Similarly, when I'm loading, load s. So what I need to give, the result original list you pass here, original set, this value I need to pass as an input. Then it will retrieve the original value. So similarly, not only this, you pass to any function, you get it. You get it. You see now, you got like n1 equal to none. You are doing a pickle, you are dumping, and you are getting the end result. You see now. And similarly, not only this, if I say like Boolean values, whatnot, if I give any data type, either I can dump and again retrieve also. Dump and retrieve also. Now, if you want to replay, you do the assignment for all these things to a file. That is the assignment. Assignment is that. So above 5-6 operations, 6 operations you do on files. You take a file, means instead of a dump as, you should dump. When you want to dump, you need to write to a file, right? So that's what you need to remember. That's it. Everything else will be exactly same. There is no wrong at all. So exactly same. Just you need to convert. And if you want to give me one example, I can do that. So here you can take like the same example. What are you get? See here, you take this example and inspire and do it. So we can stop here.